The new Texas Giant changed everything. This coaster brought upon a new age for coasters in which almost any aging Woody could be reimagined and become a world-class ride. While the new Texas Giant is widely considered a weaker RMC today, when this ride opened, nothing like it had ever been seen before. An RMC conversion would create a new coaster for a cheap cost, and in a time in which Six Flags was struggling, this process would enable dozens of world-class coasters. But how did this happen? How did a crumbling Woody turn into the best ride in the park and transform an industry? Well, first, we need to talk about the original Texas Giant. This DynCorp Woody was among the tallest wooden coasters in the world when it first opened. The coaster featured sweeping turns and airtime hills and concluded with rapid bunny hills delivering a multitude of ejector pops. This ride and finale would be praised by most during the early years of this ride's existence. Of course, this praise would not last forever. As time passed, this coaster would begin to age, and it aged poorly. The finale, which was once praised as one of the best finales on any coaster, had become a rough mess, famous for jackhammering all guests. The general public, or GP, would stay far, far away from this aging mess of a coaster. So it did not come as a surprise when during this coaster's 20th anniversary, a makeover would be announced. Many would assume that this makeover was simply going to be a retrack like the countless other makeovers seen on other wooden coasters. During this time, if a wooden coaster was getting rough, you would call on someone to redo the track and just smooth out the overall ride experience. However, you would maintain the same layout. The park had already attempted to simply retrack the coaster, with 1,200 feet being retracked in 2009, prior to the ride's closure. The park, however, wanted a permanent solution, so the Texas Giant would not be retracked. Instead, it would be reimagined. A relatively unknown company called Rocky Mountain Construction was developing a new type of track for a new type of coaster. They were initiating development on iBox track, which would be used for transforming wooden coasters into steel hybrids. This track was built to mimic the traditional track on wooden coasters. Wooden coasters consist of track built up of several layers of wood topped with metal. The iBox track was all steel and blended an I-beam with a box beam, hence the name. This new track would enable RMC to reimagine wooden coasters and improve the forces and overall ride experience while reusing the existing supports, resulting in an affordable price and an incredible ride. This coaster would open on April 22, 2011, and from that moment on, the coaster industry would forever change. This coaster was perfect for the time. The legendary layout, designed by none other than Alan Schulke, consisted of ejector airtime hills, heavily banked turns, some short bunny hills, and a fun, enclosed section towards the end of the ride. While the layout doesn't stand out today due to its distinct lack of inversions and outer banks, the coaster was well crafted. The elements popped, especially the first drop, which is still great today. The coaster did slow down a bit across its 4,200 feet of track, however at no moment is this ride boring. This coaster brought unmatched ejector airtime, and in a time in which nothing else like it had ever been seen, it really stood out. This coaster was and still is a world-class ride. However, even though this is a low-tier RMC, it would forever change the industry. What RMC did was create a cheaper way to build world-class rides. While a large B&M can cost upwards of $20 million, an RMC conversion could yield a better result for a cheaper price. The new Texas Giant costs $10 million. For a coaster of this level of quality, this is an incredible price tag. This coaster has no right to be so affordable. Suddenly, a world-class coaster was much more affordable. Parks didn't need to spend $20 million for a good ride. Even a large, ground-up RMC like Zadra only costs $16 million, which is expensive, but for what many consider the best ride in the world, I would argue that it was certainly worth it. The new Texas Giant would also open right around the time in which Six Flags was struggling financially. Suddenly, this regional train couldn't afford B&M prices, yet still, they had to add world-class coasters to the parks. RMC made that possible. Between 2011 and 2020, 8 RMC hybrids would open up in the Six Flags chain. These rides were affordable and beloved by the GP and enthusiasts alike. Additionally, these coasters enable parks to transform terrible wooden coasters into actually half-decent rides. Often parks would be forced to retrack aging Woodies or simply discard them due to the rough nature of many of these CCCI, RCCA, and DynCorp coasters. Rather than needing to do this though, parks could RMC them for a permanent solution. Suddenly these rides were being turned into among the best in the world. Now, not only have countless Woodies been reimagined, but the industry as a whole. Parks suddenly have a way to build world-class coasters for an affordable price. Additionally, RMC has risen towards the top of the industry after the success of their Raptor and hybrid models. Coasters will never be the same, and it all started with the reimagining of Texas Giant to new Texas Giant. This coaster, which is now a low-tier RMC, changed things so much. Nothing like it had ever been seen before. An entire new way of building coasters had to be invented, and the result could not be better. So if you've watched this far, thanks so much. Please consider liking the video if you've enjoyed it, and subscribing if you've loved it. We're almost at 50 subscribers. It'd be awesome if we can get there soon. But what are your thoughts on the new Texas Giant? Is it still a world-class coaster, or is it now just another RMC? Tell me below in the comments. So again, thanks for watching.